What if I told you that two of the most pivotal events in all of history, separated by more than 1,000 years, were actually telling the exact same story? Today, we're going to unpack the incredibly deep symbolic connection between the ancient Passover in Egypt and the crucifixion in Jerusalem.
So let's dive right in. We're going to follow this incredible thread that connects a sacrifice lamb in ancient Egypt all the way to the crucifixion of Christ in Jerusalem. It's this one profound, shared message that just weaves its way through the centuries.
So you gotta ask, right? How is that even possible? How can two events so far apart in time be so intricately woven together to tell one consistent story of redemption? Well, the answer is surprisingly simple, and it's exactly what we're here to uncover.
You see, the entire connection hinges on two incredibly potent symbols that keep showing up in both stories: blood and wood. Let's start by looking at the power of the blood.
First up, the blood. Now, in both of these narratives, blood is way more than just a gruesome detail. No, it's the absolute heart of the story. It symbolizes life, it symbolizes sacrifice, and it symbolizes the sealing of a divine promise.
To really get this, we need to touch on a key theological idea. It's called substitutionary atonement. I know, it sounds a little academic, but at its core, the concept is simple. It's the idea that an innocent life can be sacrificed to save another from punishment. And that idea? That's the engine driving both of these narratives. And here's where the parallel just becomes crystal clear. In the Passover story, an innocent lamb dies so the firstborn son can live. Okay, now fast forward a few centuries, and Christian theology presents Jesus as the ultimate Lamb of God, whose sacrifice atones for the sins of all humanity. It's the exact same principle, you see, just on a cosmic scale.
But the blood does more than just save a life. In both accounts, it acts as a kind of seal on a sacred promise, what theologians call a covenant.
Just think about it for a second. For the Israelites, that blood on their homes was the physical sign of God's promise to protect them. For Christians, Christ's blood establishes a new covenant, a new promise that offers forgiveness and a direct relationship with God. It's the same powerful theme, a promise sealed in blood, just echoing through time.
And ultimately, both sacrifices offer protection from death. The Passover blood saved people from a very real, physical, immediate death. The blood of the crucifixion, on the other hand, is understood to save people from a spiritual death, that eternal separation from God. You can literally see the narrative evolving from the physical to the spiritual.
All right, so we've covered the blood. Now let's turn to our second key symbol, the wood. And believe me, this isn't just some random detail. In both stories, the wood acts as the literal stage for the entire act of redemption.
Think of it this way. The wood is the platform where the sacrificial blood is presented. It's the physical structure that makes an invisible spiritual act visible for all to see.
And here the parallel is just striking. In Egypt, blood was applied to the wooden doorposts of a house. On Calvary, blood was shed on a wooden cross. The setting changes, sure, but the stage, the wood, it stays the same.
But here's the thing. These symbols, the wood and the blood, they weren't enough on their own. Both events required a critical human element, an act of faith.
I mean, for the Israelites, painting blood on the wood was a physical act that showed they trusted in God's promise. In the same way, the cross isn't just some historical object. It's the central symbol of faith and the power of that sacrifice. In both cases, the interaction with wood is the outward sign of an inward belief.
So, we've looked at the blood and the wood. Now let's put it all together. Let's zoom out and see the bigger picture they create. A powerful, shared story about moving from death into new life.
When you do, a really clear pattern emerges from both stories. Step 1, the instrument of wood is prepared. Step 2, the blood is applied in an act of faith. Step 3, as a result, death is either passed over or it's conquered. And finally, step 4, a new life begins, whether that's freedom from slavery or freedom from sin.
And here we can just see it all laid out, from atonement to faith. Every single key concept in the Passover narrative finds a direct and expanded parallel in the crucifixion. A lamb for one family's firstborn becomes the Lamb of God for all of humanity. Blood on a doorpost becomes blood on a cross. It is a remarkably consistent story, told centuries apart.
And it all comes together in this one big idea. These are not two separate stories, but chapters in a single, unified narrative of redemption, one that's deeply rooted in divine promise and sacrificial love.
This leaves us with a final, powerful question. If these ancient events are truly one continuous story, what does this unified narrative of sacrifice, protection, and new life mean for how we think about hope, faith, and redemption in our own lives today?